enti de bia ana se suku a ye friend no Prempeh College abakosemu ene eye oforiso da etoso mienu February 5 da etoso enum sorry ena enfie be se adioson ensianie womu ehia ewo Kumasi Prempeh College ye share ase na Asante hen otumfo Ajiman Prempeh otoso mienu ana edin ayade to college no ni tipa na yede to no one ni nua na wako eye exile aba na odina de no ono so Prempeh the first modern boy. In fact, the first Ashanti development plan was hatched by him and son of called exile in 1896. Now, when we established Prempeh College 76 years ago, no, Trimpone touch pa and say, you better to emrantie ama o mine esum. Into ye din or man for and I say a man for no. Na shasi no. Enunti ena womo fa se enyina so a yede ye entete no enye oman pa fapem eni suban pa oman pa fapem eni suban pa ena na yetwa ne ti aye no suban eni nimde aye ye college no ne fapem a mabunu ene ema ekọ ho no nyina bi bebre so nim se ye college no ema akomuda ye wo old boys a omo ye ma and I say old students are omo ye ema womo eko ntete won mo ebinu kwa de omo penso no omo dormitories they were housed at Prempeh College even though anche na ye ma womo tena fie ba school mu besua ade enti emfie adioson eni nsiani a Prempeh College ebaye na nyame dom so obaye so wabom modern bebre. In fact, at some point in the late 1970s to the early 80s no medical school e work Ghana hanom omo ma Prempeh College quota say senior befa if it's a woman nya ne sa and from the best student to the last student on befa no nya be free Prempeh College ye nya obi an free ba bia we nyina we no mo say ya mamukota mo ya be mamu dudu say we nyina wow medical school we nyina enti ya bi medical doctors, engineers, lawyers, judges, members of parliament, teachers, farmers, bebre asofo imam nom soldier for akantinka. So you say currently the CBS, the first general, 4-star general, I want to Ghana Hanmo.
Ah, Yan Ghana.
Yeah, say you want to say.
Yan
no.
Yan bida.
General upon paper.
Or a test the boy fire on Michelle.
Yow. Senior
Thomas Yow upon paper.
Senior
General.
Or your Prempeh College papa.
Why?
Or your Prempeh College. Apart from the champion.
Prempeh, some not time baby near.
Nah, I think sir, so far the best president we have had in this fourth republic.
I know say
yeah, me papa. His Excellency. His Excellency, Papa, Senior, John Ajekum Kufo.
So we into which me coffee.
Enti, oh,
I was my pon.
Oh, pardon me.
Them just me pam worry.
I don't pay. No, see what mean. I said no, what to say.
Many worry.
Enti, I think, sir, Yayebi. I'm saying the first clerk of parliament under this fourth republic. Senior, I Rex also answer. No, honestly, Prempeh. Me and my papa from Winchi. No sense to dine. Na memma Prempeh College for nyina awodapa. Na maka kire ni titru mabunu na wo ho sesi an say. Tie osan your first black headmaster na oka asem bi na Ruben Tetesaki so me headmaster no so taka pa say it is not so much rising to the top but maintaining your position at the top is the greatest matter.
Mate, me da say. Me mama baako, my sister baako, madam fo baako, ma die nyina. Mrs. Claribel Wilson. It a friend of Mama Reggie, administrator, Village International School, Kingsby. Mama Reggie, my few. Now that's one shada in Yadami Bisano. And I'll say, one pa, Nanze, that's where you mama. I tell you, why? A matter for tea and tem why. And I have my time for Yami. See, Madame Claribel, Village International School, no pay, me watching, with himself when you pa. Doc, Parliament. Boss squeezing your album. Squeezy or say and squeezy. You'll be say, you squeezy. You squeezy will be body. I say, squeezing the boss will be squeezing the boss. BBI intact. BBI Nyameya, BBI okay. Oh, Parliament. Anyway, speaker say for no suspended or no was I sign. And then some mammy me no chance
Cardinal.
Mammy knew influence and something. I'm telling me some.
Okay.
I'll say to wish Mrs. Mabel Marilyn Efua Inshura Mensa a tutor Matthias of Uganda Preparatory School Santasi a glorious birthday from your sister Marilyn Sewa and you had to move you the Marilyn quantity number 1. I'm to Marilyn baby say how about you Enti Mrs. Mabel Marilyn Efua Inshura Mensa tutor Matthias of Uganda was Santasi Unia Marilyn say wa entry or say Yama Chinkwa and Awodapa happy birthday to you. All right. Oh
yeah, Cardinal.
Habila
near that a point so say Speaker left suspension of MPs after bipartisan appeal. Men kasa wo hon mu bebre de meka nyina ne say Sir Speaker na onim say ade na waye no na emfamra kwan.
We are sure.
Eni nyina so bia wo mra mu. He went ultra.
No onim.
Onim say.
Onim so edi mra so pa.
O dabi. Onim na Speaker ya me kana semo a amanfo bi fi say eya na ebie your time bi. Enyo time bia o. The first inaugural speech of my year 2021, January 7. Ena me started ehu wo mu say na nyaatwonsem bi ahyase na kwan ofa so de be ye emrahwebagya fie chairman no osese emma oma enu di nani kan na ebrenase na onya abotre say di brana ye di amano no eye oman esom enti ene di aban na ene me yese sabi tumidie ye mfa nkwa ye ho because tumidie na nkasa no eye adom and anybody who is a beneficiary of grace obi biara adom adi aboa no te se me nyame adom metin kwamu yi eni se me de me nkwa di agro obi adom nti wanya dibre bi sa dibre no emfa nhoahoa wo ho na me ye number 3 me ye number 2 me ye number 1 ene ye den sabi eno kan wo bi na eya wonu ma mrahye badwafo e wo ho so ebinom sabi enye wo nyina ebinom di wo hu nipa ebinom so de sabi edin anasa abodi na ye de ma wonum se ahuninifo anasa won edi won huni no minyi ni se ye di wonsu ne wobra wo bo no ofie ho no e de bata ho a ye betumi afre won sa de mesre tietia ene se won be kai Ghana mrahye badwafia edin kan the first assembly of the Gold Coast, 1951 to 1954. Cardinal
Doc
Abra Osajifo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah moved the motion for independence the first time, 10th July 1953. Nipa of Fuaso, and now second motion no. Now one of the representatives from the Northern Territories. Sabrina no your hin, but now on your hin pompa. Kabachewura J. Ibrahim. And no second motion no. No can be. They can't their speaker. And if they go through the hazard of Parliament, they will find this.
1953.
1953, July 10. Cardinal.
Kawila.
At column 2812, paragraph 2. Or say, I hope you will agree with me that the price of success is self-discipline, effort, and constant vigilance. And Mr. Speaker, in all nature and in the order of things, restraint is the key attribute that guarantees and sustains success in every endeavor of life. Minim, but say me bono tofa na metiasie ye pa ahosheso ahobrasie abotare say uji atum say asodie ye de amami eye som eye sohwe eye kwan amanya na eye britia so. It is a test, it is a trust, and it is temporary. Mriye ninkaso pachao. Yebe yebiako. Ebima yebiko. Adu mene won soso se yebe yebiato aso. Ni yebeye. Ni ayenye. Eno ena jonto no say. Ema omai ko nanim anase ko nechi. Aso nyeyeye ena nkatitifo no ye ya enka metumi akasa no pai abo kabachewura a osanso be ye yagbonwura timu the first metumi akasa bonidi tabi enti Mr. Speaker ujatum say one lift a suspension na ade na me mpese metwim bebre ni say onhwa na ukoka say na speaker no de ono ye no asotwe be na say koma no because he heard, he knew or ought to have known too well then emba ni trimu a o yes ade no Cardinal makabia ye womunim de ye said de chosem no ka kire ye wo Mike ngoma no tete ngoma pa tinsia nchichemu wotwe no ozo onipa ba wacho de ye de atene bra ho ase na nya humbo bro ma oyonku nipa ni nyina odo enimu tintima me da ase e wo ho nominees aye approve wonom ye say ayi mienu bi ho nsem Cardinal MPs yeshemo mose nyese mose ya mamra no the constitution ya dietum no say yi mampani free so nidiso a emrahye badwafie chiame ena diso in fact mampani abedi akire ne diso na ba emrahye badwafie chiame ansana atimuaku batan ono so aba enye kwa aye kano say equality before the law no ane wo ho but say the hierarchy of laws and say emramu enidiso no saaso ne wo enipa dibre so nidiso sabi ahemfo ayi chiniye ebi di bi achi obi dia ba obi dia yatwe Assign enya kwa nipa sa na nyame boye enitina ye wo aja ye wo ena ye wo nua pani ye wo nua kuma mpo ntafo a ye wo mu da krompo no pani wom yen hu ne saa na yen tiasie saa na obi biara so a wo di brebi e wo ba bi no kai se enya wo nko a ena obetumi aye amana wie peyo ese se yenya afoforo yensom eni nipa ena mpani so aka se obako kire damfo a enye yie saa na man kikire akwakoye na no minisa ya pa wonum yedi kan matrim kwadada menyi ni se ese ye koso atwe de me de eni se vet no what say this year strangely this is the only vet throughout our history of this fourth republic yanya kwan amma public no amfa nsema wo mo eka efa nominees no anko I don't so far mean who ye because of bring ana mampani person or shisha ni man tentem sunti and it is good for our democracy. The only thing is that notwithstanding no na nke betumi anya kwan bia ye betumi afama one more ye wo bibi say binti ewo no no ayapa wonum na say aswafo na ayapa wonum no wo mu no on de beba na ni nyina mu no migidi ye pa say members of parliament no ye bebo ni true minority leader ye bebo na baso say you know to da ni questions bi wonum a na wo ka but wetumi am ye hu
was another me catch say
ken no e bi wonum a eya na ye kwa na kadna ma nka wenwie. You see, Malawi for baby a meta can once and say cows are trapped by their horns, men by their ways. What they call Emremua almost say he who calls for equity must come with clean hands. Sebi. That be idea about me disropa with management of public resource. Say yesika, say ye bre, say ye fidie, and they say any wo. And I know that wo na wako pet na wo kasa wo de ye de wo pet. Eye wo you may even be part, but eye wo ni omanfo nyina ye dia. Enti ano no wo de di djuma enye wo apede e na wo de ye. Eye de omanfo no pe ene ye de ye. Na sabi wo di djuma som wo dodo mu. Na wo ahotoso ni gidie se memfa bibia eni se mefa. Minya bibibia mintimi eni ho adanse e. Dia na edin say obeka say mi wo. What's the big deal? Say me wo private property registered in my name. Why na say usuro say obeka? Chairman no atoda na me hwe ni din wadane ne ho defense lawyer for some of the nominees before him. But I don't think that was right. Minority leader still kept his. I mean, you're sure say, even though my express a reservation about say, yeah, public ebia queries, and I say
memoranda na bi nyama sa
say ebia obi wo unsem kan ebi no de beko no. Me visa minority leader FLA those gaps in na. Na the akos wo no so no eye adisua ma ye nyina ye ba. Say o ka obi asemo a I know why she ye kakra. Especially say also what do jumadi when you are in public life. And I will say this. The people doing the most disservice to our public life and politics are not the media, but politicians.
Adintra.
Politician where you're crown for. Politician where you're we. Politician way what you say. Yeah, one no and I would free. You're charging Crawford at try warm in the media without an opportunity to respond. Found them guilty and sentenced them to social exclusion. The brave. Ebetu dia dine ebebu sa dance no osimini the best we have had a apology. Can that compensate for the harm to reputation? Obi can't be to us as someone okay, or Nina so be also, or can any breso? Yet the politics. Near time crying partisan politics, no. And perhaps I should sound this caution. Ghana politics no is not for partisan politicians in Kwanwu. Political party bien ni Ghana hanumo sabi ni membership it do 2 million. In fact 1 million crown at the braka. I've managed a political party before. I can tell you records in good standing. Ubusa pomo e claim to your party for say what does it mean to be MPP? What does it mean to be NDC? Even party executives, you find them wanting. Where are the principles? Nina so dey ye pan ye dey ye man yosem no. And it will help us in deepening our democracy by getting more quality people. More quality people. The fact say what party mu your party politics no one platform and I'm doesn't mean say I am the best. No. Talk and let others talk. That's democracy. Now the all counts more being can be. Until I say from I come huno and no need your way. Can be. I don't say you say a day can na mean can be. Also me can man can be. If he say ye ne sa enye. Na mesre wo mo a the parliament person omo did done a good year bia. Sometimes the jokes are too many. A good year no do so do. Kada woni say nipa ni be ono a ode oye no ono onim say ade na oye ne pa enkosi aga. Enso odi di agro.
Nipa bi tisa.
Nipa bi a lot of them in our politics, in our public life. When you are moving command, so I now say you are too serious with life. Hey, now if I cannot be serious with life, what else can I be serious with? What? Life that you have it but once to live, and after death you have a judgment to give to your maker. And that's my belief. That's my worldview. I'm guided by that. If you don't have that worldview, it's yours. But don't accuse me of being too serious with life, because this is life. It's all I have. It is life and the other things that support life. Without my life, nothing else is important to me. Enti masre na media we say you see ye amanwa ye nyemai na wonu mu a ministerial appointments adane an opportunity to self enrichment. Some ministry is juicy, some ministry is not juicy. Where did that come from if it is about service? Say your someone somebody na chance sumbi kadna somebody and na kese chance sumbi na why pa na oba be someone obe kwa kotwa sika say mame kwa na me somo ati will you pay money to me to come and serve me? So you see our whole concept and understanding of politics right from the foundations of our nation, that is if we even have one. Because I mean, lately I've been thinking, have we formed a nation? Ethos Bayer, from the very first day. My current motion of destiny, go and read the speech.
Nakabila Dasam Nakana, GMBs, you are also to make Ghana cylinder manufacturing, and also to make Ghana publishing. I don't know, we see so Benedentem. Bakuska ni ho.
Inti somno anase sikana ukope.
Intesyon kwa nante.
Kadna no de papa kwa rabo fe no ka kire me say JK Bofe senior me natural. O say ukoyi wa ye ho ukoyi wa you only war in the wild. Na wo no bi bebo ewo no. Bi bebo bo. Inti wo be wo no obi a ukoyi wa ba bia bi wo no na ni kura so a. Na papa say the motivation is that on sana wodes yi ewo no na say me sure say technology abedie use sankosa but on sana wodi yi wo no eyadan ya unhohoro nsa no ngu at least obetafre ho kakra
enti betafre dem am tafre ni yi preko
de make can say o tafre no nya say fa wo no bo wanum na ayi silver na say kra a woji wonu gumu no na watam
ba say also ne be adwen say uyi wogu pan mu a o tafre a de obetafre no so chese uyi agu silver chensim
na me ka say nti tafre no is to tell you say adwuma a obeya obebre ho no eye den a obetene debi na ne da no bi ene say wo ba ye be bie kwan ama na me ba ye mie kwan ma me ne da no bi ni say wo tu kwan a ye be ka say o man ntwa o ticket me ye ntwa me ticket ba ko ene say sabi se me no nyina kwa pre bibia ye be ka say ye man member of parliament preference over me enti ye be from honorable ye from honorable nka me din ho
honorable
enti de mesre nyina ne say
honorable
ye nyina ye nka hunu say ye chichire man a ba ko for enchire damfo ye nyinara ye nsom eni nipa na ya dwene ko benkuru mu a ye be ya ma ye man yi ayeye medase
so medase papa James Kwabena Bonfa Junior PhD and I'm telling Kano Atik Mohammed and so ewa ha Atik Maje now what is say
I'm Adam no
open for what is saying
obia
na zero mi say kwanna etutu kakra afida me kwa sore ba no de bibia be markin kwa me say eh mutu ya miracles ogana
zemo wo hu kan na de wo mu say no
mutu bi
substandard road nanso no man markin na me say wo markin de adi e hu atutu is wo nam so
it media grow papa
no but really and truly media my thinking is that all urban roads should be asphalted. So between us roads na here no embwa nso togusu correct omuye kwa nso togusu na esu tutu basa then the following weeks following month no omuzadi bitumen kakra edebe gusu be hu na afi omuye markings am say na kwa we na here markings no anyway yedi kai maminchia Republic of Gambaga for na minchia Mamprogomani Ghana for nyina nana me de am say issues are ya kan ho asemi medical aka ni si wo parliament just briefly na afi mabeka asem bi a ehia me pa efa galamse hu but ni si wo parliament ni de I think say the Speaker of Parliament in my humble view acted ultra vires. Because me, my standing orders, my kind constitutional, trying to locate Bibia, Yemen to me say, without, referring supposed hearing MPs to the appropriate committee, the Speaker can on his own pronounce judgment on the conduct of members of Parliament, without even giving them the opportunity to be heard. And by saying that before with every energy we can command, until when such organs are under attack, we feel responsible.
It's been denied.
Even though we are denied, but nonetheless, it tells you the severity of the situation. Because because somebody had squeezed the bees. What am I saying? And imagine this is the House of Parliament. Punches have been thrown, and now it's got to the point where people are squeezing colleagues, vital organs. Where is this is semi-murder? Because me now when you have freedom in Tema, one year, and I will never too late. And what is the value of a man without his? That's why vandals defend those ones with all energy. Because what does it profit a man to be in Parliament and lose his bees? And the way it tells you, say the House of Parliament is becoming a joke. With all due respect to members of Parliament, but even so, no, I think the Speaker acted in a way that, in my view, went beyond the remit of his powers, allowed both by the standing orders and the Constitution. But there is a saying in Mamproli, so we opinion now unkolande betufu. Sanity if you think you are a member of parliament, now you who say we are kwala niamu ye nyam until the speaker would assume powers that are not his legally and not constitutionally. Now, sometimes, look, I wrote a paper on the participation of women in politics. And in the days of Nkrumah, when the affirmative action bill was being introduced to get 10 women to be members of parliament, one of the comments, look, Ukaya Oyembe show. Say Nkrumah was going to bring pancaked faced women to come and be sitting in parliament with little utility to the deliberations of the house. Oh, that is how one of the MPs on the other side described the participation of Mano. Says here, who share the utility of, look, they contribute, they don't even contribute. And when the person dares stand up to contribute, so you ask yourself, is this really a member of parliament contributing? This is my assessment and a sincere one at that of parliament. It is like over the period, the quality in the house is gradually going down. And that's a really, really, really good source of worry. For Bia or who the growth of parliament. One would expect, say, from 96, the way I call in 2000, you would expect it to be progressive. But as a trend, is I quite to say, I don't know, the growth of quality in parliament is ham-shaped. As I call PIM the Pempens, so now is declining. And that for me should be a really, really, really big worry to all of us as Ghana for, because I'm not sure Bejufwe Omude exercise oversight even over the executive. Omun Shishamra MI. As if the quality of your representations now is leaving a whole lot to be desired. Not just a hardware. Look, and comrade, you would understand this, and I would appreciate this. Ebimu, when you appear even on a panel, now you are engaged in a debate with Obi. Nipani Nifax, Obi no kikim, no didiatem. Sanity, and if somebody lacks quality, he makes up for it by being, for want of a better word, acting like a thug.
Rowdy.
Yeah, rowdy is the word. What has here?
Egbert, Egbert Fable, and I said, "Ne papa catcher and say during a debate, the first to throw a punch concedes his ideas have given up."
That sounded absolutely. That there's no better way to put it. In the same manner, Obia who Sabi does very little to participate in the deliberations of the house wants to be seen in other areas. Until do choboy na Sabi who the catcher me. How many times do you see those contributing very seriously on the floor, throwing punches and squeezing Nkrofuja Padia? You hardly see them. It tells you how the trend of growth in parliament is beginning to decline. And that's something we need to be watchful of. Says here, you spoke about the way I am managing. Says here, everybody who wants an appointment wants to get the appointment. Parliament. And some become CEOs simply because Nipan Peso Nyesika Ediakoto delegates. Normal Tunswaba. Then eventually the person ends up in parliament. Without, you see, sometimes you need to do, self-introspection, do self-assessment. Baby Amikwe, do I have what it takes to be there? But Akweti says, the idea, parliament is becoming insurance for politicians or Omu who say, baby Edri de Andre ya party veko position. Till let me go buy that insurance. Parliament cannot be insurance for politicians. It cannot be a safe haven for politicians. It should be a baby. What GDA say? Me bahadia. I have what it takes to contribute to deliberations, to the making of good laws. Because look, being a parliamentarian is like being a researcher. Because on daily basis you are inundated with documents. And so we have research to make sure that this bill I ever pass, this agreement that is being brought. But there are people who really sabi. They bring the documents, they don't read. And everyone, even when they read, they hardly appreciate the content. And how do you expect Sani Panu to make meaningful contributions to the house? Beba can't vet in Wasam, but this issue of Galamsey. Mazda Endra issue statement.
Galamsey, yeah.
near the man who's we
call it illegal mining.
Yeah, illegal. So that
is a corrupt. Is a misappreciation. The public seem to buy into that.
Now Galamsey is the synonym of illegal mining.
Yeah,
that's why I'm making
we should correct it. And yeah, Papa.
I'm on for Galamsey and you know. Says here nobody does Galamsey in the true meaning, like the true meaning and the strict meaning of Galamsey. Obi anye BMO. Sometimes now they were using, you know, hoes and pickaxes to do. Says Obi anya or Obi anya or yes I don't know.
Intiman says by giving it.
You see, Galamsey in itself was a corrupted word. Now we have given it a new meaning. So allow the evolution. Allow the evolution.
We no Papa na ye no tete no.
There will be no name for it.
Yeah. We have a duty to.
How would we call it then?
Illegal mining.
That's brofu.
No, illegal mining. Kwambone e fa so tu agudie.
That's the sentence.
Krono bo. Krono.
I first Kabila.
Mamenka Galamsey na won to me
Kabila.
Any direct.
Kabila Galamsey. Ati
Galamsey is one word.
Ati.
No, Galamsey is one word.
Ati.
Yes.
A operational definition.
Simple. We have decided to give us our operational definition.
Your operational definition.
Well noted.
You have right to contest.
Yes.
With literature.
What was that? In the last 2 quarters of last year, no. You know, because of the effects are now of Galamsey, affect you water bodies, Amazisia Krana, water company, and young processing my. You know, the campaign against illegal mining, Eman Husubim. We issued statements, we spoke about it, and so on. Abayna Netusunu decided they were the Enyon Hushi. And Nyomuti Susesi spoke also very vehemently against Nene Kosono. And our information, and like we have said in our statement, there are reports, and we believe the same reports to be credible. Say, Galamsey says as someone who's in a different form. Say a new entrance because there's a new government. And the fight against Galamsey, look, there's no room for us to pause. A grace period. A grace period. But with the issue of Galamsey, there can be no grace period. Because look, it is one of the major threats. One of the factors are undermining climate change mitigation efforts as a country. All the NDCs are all the climate change, the national climate change policy now. The national climate change plan now. Galamsey is whittling away all the things we have decided to say. When you say the year 2025 is yet another year as a Ghana representing an NDC to the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. Because Paris Agreement requires you say every 5 years you should present your nationally determined contributions. And this year, and that's how Paris Agreement was born out of that convention. And this year, Mrena Sasum say Ghana would prepare its own NDC. NDC now is simply your national climate change plan. Dear now, we have found for the next 5 years. And Galamsey should feature very prominently in it. Look, Galamsey is one of the major threats to, like I said, your mitigation efforts, And Galamsey na about fighting climate change, And look, the Paris Agreement and the Paris Agreement, focuses on 3 action areas: air mitigation, adaptation, and then financing. Now, say, if you are going to solicit a new crown, Trump say no, they were treating way free agreement, and the financing for climate change efforts, and our programs, says here bedding, and nobody would watch anybody or be a contributed any developed country. With your climate change efforts now. Now, Omusha say Munya she fact Galamsey, which is one of the surest ways you can say undermine more efforts now. There is no way there's no way they would be motivated to support you with your efforts. And Galamsey is the fight against Galamsey is at the center of all our climate change efforts. And Tineka say, look, we cannot swap one group of illegal miners for another. Now, we can illegal mining now. I'm not just talking about people who are mining without concession rights and without mining rights. I'm talking about the destruction they occasion to the environment. And Mika environment, I'm not just talking about young forests, no. The water bodies are included. They degrade the forest. They pollute our water sources. Look, and one of the contributory factors to climate change is deforestation. Because that absorbs carbon dioxide, no. It reduces your the environment's ability to absorb CO2, no. And you got climate change now. It's simply the change in your weather patterns, the rise in temperatures, no, occasioned by the fact that you now have a lot of greenhouse gases. Greenhouse gases, and air trapping sunshine, like when the sun rays, you can say, planet, I can say, assassin. Usually, our weather is not too extremely warm, cold, no, and say you have some greenhouse gases, no. CO2, methane, and the rest it may absorb some of you can say heat now you can say we are producing, no. But say air also until you have them trapping a lot of the heat. That's how come you now have extreme weathers. You have higher temperatures. Now CO2 now SM air absorbing, no. Say you bubu na egu you destroying na until there is more emission of CO2 into the atmosphere, which means you have higher concentration of CO2, and it tends to trap more heat. Until look at the heat waves I experiencing and saying until when that undermine your efforts to ensure say you can say climate change. Say the obia say another agreement, and it said we should be able to maintain the temperatures not to go beyond 1.5 degrees Celsius above the pre-industrial era, you can say temperature levels, no.
Brofu bebre na oka no.
Nyame pa che ne say, ne ye nyina ma ye modern boy ye pese ye nso ye contribute to ensure say climate change in samsami higher no. Say see Galamsey is one of the things that you can say say bibia ye boy homodi na Galamsey abese no. Nti mampenyin, we have made some propositions in our statement. We have suggested, just like we did, last year. The first point of attack is to cause an immediate cessation of all small artisanal and small-scale mining activities. That's the first point. And yes, you be banning or more permanently. But once you cause that cessation, no, it allows you to then, fashion a more sustainable and workable plan. Secondly, and this has to be done with of course, the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources. The Minerals and Mining Act 703, no, gives them 703 gives them the power to suspend and even cancel all licenses given the fact that it is in the public interest. Until almost had 2 minutes to cause a cessation. So we feel said this is about the environment. Is about the environment. We don't even see why, when it came to the fight against Galamsey, it was the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources that was leading the fight. Ministry of Environment, they say take his charge because Lands and Natural Resources, they are to ensure say we need license and any mineral right. You don't go mining. But the destruction that is occasion to forests and water bodies, it is the Ministry of Environment necessary. Making sure say that doesn't happen. They prevent further destruction. And obia odisa bonino yet me fa kwan bi so etwina so. And we have also proposed the setting up of specialized environmental course. Because this is a major problem, and if who person will deal with that problem now, you should be innovative in the way how you unema. Say you do move for regular course now. Eto be a check. But if you have specialized course, say we are dealing with environment and environment related offenses. Mijidi say it will make the dealing with such cases very expeditiously. And we've also made the suggestion, say, Mesti Wowe, they need, can say, oh, distraction, bad distraction. We don't even know the extent of the distraction. We have suggested, say, Mesti must conduct immediately. Somebody conduct an environmental audit.
Mesti near then.
Ministry of Environment, Science, Technology and Innovation. Somebody conduct an environmental audit, and there are state agencies in doing that. They don't need to incur, fresh costs to do that. Now, the extent of degradation. Bia Ghana for who picture na. Na yam share ya. Mijidi say near Mesti and all other relevant stakeholders. Biano. They will get the full support of Ghana for. It's very, very important. Say we do our audit, the extent of degradation, illegal mining activities, cause we need to know. Now, at the end of the day, the most important thing is say, if there is no review of the mining sector now, people will still go back. And to protect the environment, we also are encouraging say there should be multi-stakeholder, engagement and our conference, if you will. Na yen discuss edien potia ye to ensure say the activities of Galamsey we esobeti. Make I say one of the things Abaya Etremu thought they could do was to introduce community mining. But community mining became the legal license for people to even do more Galamsey. And it tells you that model has not worked. We need to have some multi-stakeholder conference here so we can, think further and better about the way I bet to mean Ekutia mine. We can't say nobody should mine. After all, it's one of our major foreign exchange earners. The mining subsector is one of the major earners at Ghana. And the end can say we won't mine, but we should mine responsibly and sustainably. And we have suggested, let's have a conference to discuss that. Now, at the end of the day, yet me as our conference now. Now, what are even the extremes? Ghana, if you are not doing small scale mining, you are doing large scale mining. There's no midway between. And to be one capacity to do small scale mining, so now so the capacity to do large scale. Obenwa no the Galamsey na ekeka ho. And if we have a medium scale mining arrangement, so idea possibly able to me. Now. Mami fa no entry na membeka the approval of
Mami approval
nominees ni just
Mami komra Mami komra
o gwan haba
some if you be na mba ho
oh no me no ya kasa wa kasa bibri Mami nke just 1 minute
what you 1 minute
oh 1 minute me one
wouldn't marry a friend 1 minute
oh minim
I think
minim
wouldn't marry a friend 1 minute
yes some school
1 minute
aye. No, not strictly speaking, but metaphorically speaking.
Metaphorically,
oh, wait, let me because it has exposed a lot of things. You see, I am advocating say the asset declaration regime. No, I said to me, Mrano. Say we declare, Obi Onhunia we declare. We need to know because United is a man for New Kukoso.
Are they?
Look, how can you marry the salary of an MP to the cost of his accommodation and tenancy?
Mariana, okay.
Mika okuji to blah blah kwadi. Oh, minua.
Watch the new why you?
Was I a vmate so?
Watch church.
No, see, he's a full-time MP. That's all he does.
Oh yeah, printing press along the line.
No, that was school. You see, why are you saying that Sasigan or the Koto treasury bills and the Koto fixed deposit? And Usikaman, Debbie. No, they asked him. You see, yeah, we are confusing two things. That was an answer to a question of, have you ever worked? Why a Jumada? What has it? That's different from how he pays his
there's
rent.
A company in 2018 and 19 or so.
As someone come and say, no, see 2008.
Printing president to the
and you were a Fiba, Anya Juma, or Anya Juma.
And you're incorporated here.
2008. Anya Juma.
Yeah.
Now,
oh, no,
so you're 1 minute.
I think that the asset declaration regime. What's up, you are there? Eh? Where do you benevolent to? He said, oh, yeah.
The dictator.
Wait, be benevolent in count. He's a raw dictator. The American say once we have access to,
but at least I built consensus.
What's that?
I'm not like the speaker. I built consensus.
Oh yes, you try to. Yeah. The American say, you see, you can't accept declaration now. It's not for fun. It's just the idea is say, wow, Uber public service mono. Men you are say me babe uses our office no. Eddie a pesca me home.
And then claim out.
Say, who declare now didn't we have no access to it. Made who say papa ya minimni. All by say na minimum. All go for say not here. How can I?
Oh, Matthias, about can we to specific business? Nedian and claim on Jechu no man then one year.
Master Wako airport use that.
Median or
maybe sir unko order. So boss to you.
And just Mako.
And unko order.
Patcho.
But what for order?
Meaning baby a woman call order.
But modern that could be just take a jolly ride.
Now what about room?
Oh, there be no men Jinasro says overhead now my Jim. Ujinasro now shine you be never catch row.
So
let me tell you how much 15,000 Ghana cedis is in dollar terms. Wadaruma. In fact, that's about $1,000. In fact, in Drumpo, but I'm using the conservative exchange rate of 15 cedis. That's $1,000.
$16 something.
No, it's about 15.3 something.
Granted,
but I'm just giving him. Me say me a book or madam funtimidi 15 emano.
I had
Masa
$1,000.
And $1,000 cannot rent a 4-bedroom house or a 3-bedroom house.
Are they
2-bedroom graunya? Missy, Bomodi na drive past there.
And they have a Mako.
Me, Masa, me go ahead.
Oh.
Me go ahead. No, me ma ko see me fan ko na me do coin.
Never be house me nkono.
No, me ya wure me ya ko drive akwa aba. Okay, it is possible. I will boss want you bet me afa.
Ya ko sightseeing keke.
You bet me afa. Oh, Masa, even areas like Roman Ridge, Jowolo, and the rest, you know. Some buildings won't cost you $1,000. And I'm proceeding on the assumption say, would you salary in an eco to rent to? Wouldn't he? Wouldn't you my school fees? And when Musu said, Oman go Saito. Among go pan me. Debbie. Among yes, you on crochet designers. Among go Gambaga DC. What has here? Amaga yen schools in United schools yen Nisa RC ni L ni Debbie ni bi.
More than
Ozobzia Primary. The oldest primary school. Yes, you know in 19 me, what I'm saying is that you see, your access to asset declaration now, we can reconcile some of these issues. What's I say? But again, it is also important say, you now must demand accountability. I am not saying that. I mean, Ablakwa has done a very good job pursuing issues of public interest. What is here? But which we should point the compass should go round. It should not be fixated on just one direction.
The prosecutor must be prosecuted, no?
Not necessarily. Whoever, whether we are prosecutor, we are inspector, everybody involved. Just say checky on one side, I checky others, and I hear checky others. And I say checky on.
Okay.
Unim say ye ka Botiman lands.
Botiman, yeah.
If indeed this new government is committed to the fight against corruption, looting of state lands and all other state properties, Miss Rewom, ye bobo bidding one Botiman, ye free baby aviation lands.
Aviation, they were dentano.
Ananyano. Enwa. Politicians na chicha adinafa. Adena oral in Namho. And there is this ABA Mijunwa Mintiasia. How can you consign your responsibility as a state to an individual? Say Obi Engoku NG Abansasi Emau no Oya Maman Sasinibi. That is how come all these Boteman and aviation lands Yachichaman Crofu. Because Assassini Abandia. Na Abanzo we are that is the allegation say Aban Eddie Jumano Echo share Ankra Binsem so no what to me say obetimi age Aban Sasini ama Aban nti oji wi the person is entitled to a number of acres. That is how come. And you see you have politicians I betina say afoaso say yes ade wi na ya che bia man Collins Commission akosha aviation lands no. Say no mutua ya.
Omafa.
Oma chichafa.
Mate.
And it is not only party, it's not party specific. NDC for AGB. MPP for AGB. Ukobotemana is the same thing. And the orally as in the direction AI one-sided. Me for orally 200%. And then it's in the dachina me for so. But Emma Omejuan to say we are focusing only on Crawford who are coming from a certain persuasion.
Any oral now for us.
Operation Loot all state assets now.
Who has established what is a loot?
It does.
Who has established
something you have obtained illegally?
No, who has established that?
Kabila. They are doing evidence. They are doing fact finding.
Let them.
Of course.
Loot. No, who has established something as a loot?
No.
No, sir.
No, it's not when I say loot necessarily. It's about state.
Who has the power?
Nyabutre. Say they are not.
Do you have the right?
They do.
Who?
They do.
Who?
To go and find out. Check.
Why am I start to me?
And your president is setting up.
President. We have President Mahama. President Mahama hasn't set up an URA.
Oh, what are you talking about?
What am I talking
Who
about?
set it up then?
Go and check. Who was the president-elect?
You see,
this is the problem.
Yeah.
You see,
let's even
the road to democracy cannot be.
Let's even grant the president-elect in a year. This is not dictatorship.
It is wrong.
We are buying your man. They should come after you.
Good.
But you see, but before they come after you, that's what they are finding. That is what they are finding out.
Who has established that we are buying?
That is what they are finding out. That's what the oral.
Do you have the power
to do what? To find out.
Yes.
Anyway, at this point,
they have the power to find out who has taken state lands.
I think in Kabila, at this point, let me go press some balls here, and then I think in Kabila, I think at this point, I want to go press some balls hard. Kabila, let me go press some balls.
That's why you feel.
No, I won't, because I know it is mine.
No, but I won't feel like before you get the opportunity to.
Kabila ne atik Pamcho. Kabila ne atik. Kabila ne atik. Atik. Kabila. That's point. I want to go press some hard balls.
Say that's what they are looking at.
Atik.
Anybody at all? Public official be.
Hey, Assembly credit. Okay. I want to radio. They don't want me to press, but I'll press. Who lives in his own house as a tenant, apart from Ghana, and who keeps his or her tenancy agreement with his or her landlord or landlady, apart from Sam Okujeto Ablakwa? Protozoa is asking. David Kumi Awatakwa, Nana, good morning. Be informed that the original name for those doing the illegal mining those days are called Keshi, which is today Galamsey. David Kumi Yomate. Thanks for the information. Na maintain that. Nana, I'll kindly tell Kabila that the masa. Or more than any general way view. New way be a cry. Musa Batwain Aswase Nana. I am concerned about Speaker Bagman's okay, I concern Speaker Bag. Okay, I commend Speaker Bagman for his wisdom and magnanimity in forgiving the minority members for their unparliamentary conduct. His decision upholds the spirit of unity and progress in our democracy. The micro minority leader, okay, Musa Abatwa. I'm in fancy answer, but Mohamed say any BBI friend micro minority. Some Mohamed minority is minority. Only any part two crome minority. It's as simple as that. Mohamed ya na video. Ebedu baby na kwa dane ball pressing nema wo. Na mo pressing nema o table ase. Za enyefe. Munyasa. Citizen Francis Mate, also so dear no, Afenyo the Kupuku Akuma Tony Yem, nor the Madi and Abreme. Hey, any panyo, as the Kufu move here. Yameo, ebe pa. And Rana a honorable Echo Vincent Asifua, ne papa, awoda. Once again to wish you a belated happy birthday, third night Polycarp Asifua. Sir Knight Polycarp Asifua na eye wawoda. Sir Knight, belated happy birthday to you, free Honorable Echo Vincent Asifua and say Oma a trinkwa ene awoda pa. Honorable Akwesi Ampofweji Alexander Akwesi Aqua Odan. Honorable Mache.
Kadna Bijoso.
Now what to say? How has your ball pressing skills been?
Oh. Semu Kadna. The check is Do
a study on
how to press ball.
On bee squeezing practice in politics. You know what I'm saying? This is not the first time. Someone has suffered that injustice. As a vandal, I'm against that.
Your bees here intact. No, but the bees you are referring to are not the bees that we know. So
which bees do you know that?
So I know that you have an oppression definition for bees.
At this point,
no, that subculture needs to be studied. The venerable Obed Asamoah has suffered that injustice. And then Bidzidin suffered. We need to study that. It's becoming a terrible subculture.
And Dapamakwa is believed to have suffered.
He's alleged to have
Well, he has come out to say he didn't suffer that. Waba Abeka.
Says
Mejidi say interest no ewo boss hono na M11
enya boss nasem
M11 Ghana media busa na mu camera se bejafo asem
yasem nye ho
na we yasem
na yasem se MP parliament na koye appointment committee adwuma na afi ebehu na MP abeka se MP awura table ase press boss a o si Ghana media here obi suma se ko che table ase na ko press boss
ba oni enya bla konkwan na ti airport so.
Oh,
no,
at this point, let's focus on the ball. There's a ball on the table.
It should be all encompassing.
Thursday, you number appointment committee.
No, Friday,
there be Thursday, and you may number appointment committee. Me call her by 2, now by 3. No,
as a friend.
No, as a sector related personality.
Okay,
because nearby be Veti Akando, Honorable Akando. Health Minister for at 3 Kwabraminta at 3 o'clock. And you know, now I was getting ready to be part of the vetting team. Yet now Kopum say around 9:30 to 10. Na Onya Kwamai. And you know, a month for her video no I cost no crowd and Tokwanwa. But when assassin number 2 and Mary biscuit and miti. Cause I come the whole day, na minidi. Na abra diano e cost no I do baby anoya esano. Me say beti hodomo but omu pia table na was sorry na before I'm sorry me who say obi nam table na say
table ngiti
that was the table ngiti o table here sizable
no wa jeda
onam
oba na bema
na
onam table na say twaso
MP on MP
twaso nti emudwo ye ne ade a me hu de akona business nti onam table say dey na wo ye no kan
no koye
the okoye
also koye dey
na in the interview I must say me pie no ya din ko be 45 minutes wo kwan ye be fa so a sa nyama we no ebi nsida ebi nsi biom me ka say ni nyina no say ma majority form numbers no embule ye because o yes anu a na ya akwakoye te say ebe bia mpedifo buye so opam ohufo a obeton be ma intinu mamu nkase numbers this one tem bia mbe hwenhwan because already no we are down intinu say yenso yefo say wo se agina ema Ghana fo na ye de wo say ebeboa Ghana nyina no a mamu nkase mo numbers anti we should cow down to submission ebasa no a edise ngwase semi ebeba ena misa ka say speaker say nipa nan yi pe ena watch your maso esa so mo phone ba videos ni ade dia ena na wanye ni ye because anyema bi call so a cameras no and capture at the blind side of the cameras no anyema bebre call so no bizam said and so for instance say in a call so one say obi ko share table ase
no you did you movie
ana oko pretty here
pretty saying why doctor
enya me na me ko so obi mu nipa ena me say thankfully no nipa no ono no ebe ka say na me ko ye no nipa ne say obi ama em hwe iti yem fancy wa ba won send asem we atwende and some we di kan kai all the suggestions of the prophet ya betimi aboa na amagana ya parliament emu bia ama
eno nye de
it is a for busu muntu mu hofo na yemmoa oman chichire ensem ni bi wo ho na mu a sabe yemmongu na de ehia ebetimi aboa man no yemfa because baby asem ya kodu ho enwanwa
we su hia o
ehia saying
sekoye ayi a ye appointment committee a akoshe table asimia and then the more you press the more somebody's life is at stake eti hia life is at stake
course wo ho ebedu baby no na emman penifo bi ete minority for majority for aside ho ye pia table na me ye ma hihye mi nan say empia wo mu bi emmofom
but table no if minority for side na ba kunu ru ase na
and I said me no me minority for efa
etika unhu say nipa ru ase free other side no
me hu poso ru ase o de hu yan say ade bi na me na ho
o kan say say unhu say obi ru table
and me che say me hu so ade na me na hu so wapie
wa yewie
na fikwa na
okoye
oko it is said your koso yo so wan koso later bi na anti na nam form ho ye dey
na o sesen
eno chichim
Pebe say who the nipa catch us so that yem miss go to bio. Today you have the platform.
We share interview no a. Man ka say okoso. Baby. Okoso bi asobone. Me so so the bibim.
Yeah.
Le dey ben.
Say ni nan yo, say ni den yo.
No, we nam form the.
Enti nipa no, enti me ka say yes. Me make ka say be ma ni be ma.
Yeah.
Wo mu edi echinya na so mo ku ntokwa. Na ba kwa koto form de. Ohade na okoye and also on the bearman not say I'm to say me because you see it was a very chaotic situation that time not quite free for all despicable
all tactics and all weapons are
regrettable a bomb pay say e be NCBum but you said your dear feed your befie no not the once number
but still aware who ni pakro
no pakwere
owura table na
obi hu no later on muju ya ye kono na mbisa no say enti wo nam form ho no na wo ye de
tinipa na member of the minority
mitimi nka
but MP
or
first timer
mitimi nka
but o fio
MP nko ha de
no MP o Greater Accra
mitimi nka
ala woni nipa nana
say me bisa no
mitimi nka enti ye hwe de the pictures videos say ye di hu your videos no dia ye be mistaken ye nuanom enan wo dia wo ye nka say yen
but ye nwie sa ball pressing we ni ntwa
eno dia me pesa me di hu nkobo kwa bio
me ba but ise be gu asem we abri mo ho the owura table na ase no bae no o ka che o se okomia balls
o asemu a eye petuku de no no jije
no ana
na make us mum yenyai
the Matthias
na yenyai because
once I will be
trend ya kodu and semu a medi kan e kabila
meba
ehun suggestions as an MP ene de me hu de ekoso ene de ekwetimi aboa no se ko eno na etimi trending say ya e ka be boy democracy no what I say the earlier suggestions are me no say amount 40 medium data no money ade money trendy say ya kebe boy democracy no bia be wo say be mase bejafo ebu yen say yenye ni pe bia say ye ni nyansa money ade no ebe ma a different perception about our MPs rather no we ya ebe ye friend say betwemu sirihwe he no ni ade eno mom na yasom eno hwa na ye nyemu media fo no a nana ya
see ene de
enye mu media for enti minyo atik say ye kase ye be ye de de tem bia dia enye na de enye de enso betimi aboa oman ne chichire no ye ntimi enka ho asem anani pa bi ntimi hu enti no ubo say the perception towards MPs no ebe ye say ye di hwe ye enso I am telling you the minority for ye that day no say ya nya enka nyema bebre ye di hu comment ne no ye ntimi ni Esan said it will only take the minority to bring out certain things. Again, ya no ma ya power warming. President Mahama and our power warming. I am even telling you, some of the people are ya power warming. President Mahama said Yampan count to be on power as ministers. But because Bua campaign, now they were part of it until he's forced to. Because in Kapapani said the last 4 years he did. But look at the people are why point yomo. Nipa no ebia President Mahama and NDC party benefited from some of the things that Kofoni yeah while they were in opposition.
But
and then
NDC honan kasankasa.
Oh my biom, men kan review. Oh my, ayo there.
Them now must one baby sow.
Yeah, okay.
Now only must one baby sow so
because I had episode now.
Eva na bezini jina.
One episode now.
Eva.
Oh menka.
Me nyama dey saw. Me baby so asemanga
dey. I said no, obi a chia me a. Me nam ho. Enra me nam parliament sa. No be akoto ye say me yes. As a me kai say. What kind of trademark is this?
Pretty joyous.
Huh? What kind of trademark is it?
Omo say dey.
Me nam ho no mo a. Obi akoto aso no wa so bi.
Hey. Omo say omo akoto. No ordinance about for.
Why are we joking with this? Why are we joking? Yeah, me they said the former pronouncer issue statement say nothing like that happened to him. But say eto no one kind of question dia. No.
But why do you know the eto no?
No information or
me hu nipa no.
Na nipa na be kan
me hu nipa no. And I was wondering what he was doing.
But a man for this untimi nche nipa ndia ye wa.
Oh no.
Enko fa suggested sir. But nana me a gentleman enough kakra. Usha me see ade esi ye na no obi ohwe video no bia go say na me to ho na me num tea. And a Mary biscuit. Later on, because now the aircon talk on woody. Now comment him the whole day. Minidi. What does it? But me no ye the me nya ho dey kakra.
I dey hwe niam.
Enti me hwe ye no. Na se no mpia table na so sorry. So that's it. Enti me sorry what you say what you want obi what the table na so bi na ase a so be. Na enwanwa. Say me dey me say sa nipa no. Be dey bakwa dakam. Nya dia metimi abonedi.
Sao.
O debi.
But on the ojitum say omian.
Oh no, me na me be say now we are there wo ho. See you know, you always want to be discussing something because see, in the heat of their course one. Obeya niema bia later be wie be say minya ya nka benye.
Kamemia.
O dey say, anya mia no be the table akonya si table so say akonya dey etra so, e face table so. But at that moment, o pers enya say ye kire memasem. But so be with numbers. Election ye call you.
But also the bani trim anti BBS wo nyina mani trim say onko pata. Yes say microphones and mani trim say onyi microphones ye. Onyi on table ni say say be obi an say adwene bani trim say onwura table ase.
Na now sa ebedu bibi na amafo choma memasem. Me am colleague bia or majority. Tamwa ye o majority de bia oni ye nenam. E na hu nam say masa. Enti no afi do be buyen. O say na dia asumesi ye no wehu obo nipa ba mienu miensa din baako ka ho baako ka omma mi hu om no ana mi twa asam no so ana o kaim se de mo ye na so ba ye no te kama wo de bia wo ma na otu timi fi wo no ba ne ye din komani ade ene de wa ba pa wanti o ba bu yen o de se enkrofo eye niema enkrofo che mo mema sem me kai said 8th parliament na ye for say ya bre tika 9th parliament die ya begia ho mekaka ba se na sha sie die se nra speaker nankasa e dia che ye nnuano mo na because senka suspension that so ho
a mo na se ade a wo ye ya na mfamra kwamu na watwe asen mo me yanka no kra
e ho na nka be ko no
did he have the power to do what he did
nra tie o hwe standing orders ni dia hwini musa but nra obi and somebody referred me to the Parliamentary Act. Afenyo make akohwe. What you say? He has the power.
The Parliamentary Act, which supersedes the national constitution.
No, there's nothing
if
like
there's
that.
Anything in the act inconsistent with the national constitution, it's a nullity and void ab initio.
And I'll say,
so what are we talking
Kwasiakwa is telling you say Obia referring to relevant provisions in the standing
the
order.
The constitution says that Parliament governs itself by the standing orders. What is here? If there is a Parliamentary Act, what is it really about? Is it about the general, the staff, everything, and it's just about
Parliamentary service and everything? Yeah, and then now just took a ruling one. He was almost short of telling us to say, "Oh no, I will no." Obia ntimi nka say o twe no efi parliament ho. But he is the embodiment of parliament. Enra na mafo bebre ene ne nyadwene. Bedu baby kura no ka say wa wonya remorseful no. Sorry. I'm not for your attempt so sorry. Oh yes, I and they prevail upon that because ye passenger ni akoya nim.
It's true.
O da se anya empani se wo be ma dodo a ye kujaw. Enti no nya time bia na apeso kyeremra. Ye ko enfie na yo. Kabla enfie na.
Honorable member of parliament. Hwe. Speaker, the right honorable speaker of parliament. Usai ansana wababa ye speaker of the house.
Aye.
Kohwe ni oath no. Ono ne president. And no musai say they will defend the constitution and preserve it.
Yes.
At all times.
Yes.
Mpacho wa emre bebre no wa fatumi bia anyone no. Hwe one dangerous thing yeah before this new parliament beba and a ninth parliament beba ne say obomodin say enka the 8th parliament no obetiso from 275 to 271. That's what he did by his so-called announcement or information and also or they must say some members of parliament or musis vacant. He had no power to do that, but he did it and nearly pushed this country into a state
chaos.
of constitutional chaos.
Yes.
Mamon so say or embodiment of parliament.
Oh, Kabila also Obian so. Idea we buy and
So he couldn't be wrong.
And no. I mean, because initially no, will say oh you're wrong. But and no my ruling no and we referral. We want to go and check and see because seven oyenipa. It will yet the mean say no song and that your baby no but era speaker say this the 8th parliament no or the strategy or the tactics the tricks be and a boo parliament to say be ya ye benya no asumdwe mu abedu say be and to kwesi na ye say nka 9 parliament there ke ho be so na NDC for nya majority ono an was high speaker ye na nka ebia presidency ewo NDC and a parliament NPP nya numbers dodo and afei ye speaker begidi say would have had a different narratives. It is a say no the obey biano ye be name the CEO so no omontenase ade ba ye no openly omakasa say be ya yemra so bedwafo de nyame si enka no kure ehun kakra aba nyade a etimi esode kawadwene so that say because the way ya papa no onimumra wayemra so bedwani a che no mo ne ade no wo de fa ba bia wo de be hia wo ho etianura
wayeti
tie enura
Supreme Court correct
enura no ka asem ena one of yankrofo ni bi ka bibi jo kan ne say ukokotin wo ba dia me betimi abaji wo ba utin wo manim dia be de be wo e man hu bai so that's it yes you know that if you
but that is not practice.
Yeah, that's intimidating.
That is
for anybody who watched and not proceedings.
I think so.
No, but if indeed
reaching himself,
but if
and he must be told
Kabila, if the speaker can asem awokan the way awokan no ya there, I think that he needs to be. I mean,
he needs to slow down.
And everybody who watched yesterday's proceedings, why he literally meant and they say, or no, as an embodiment of the house.
No, sir, I didn't know what does that really mean.
Say, car, or obeti me about the charge.
What is he talking about?
If you have a case in court,
he cannot. What can he do?
Yemfande say, Unami say, police eba bechewa. Mirakwemu no ba standing orders no. I was a police budget permission free no.
Yes.
10 years on no obe to charge you.
Now where?
And if they come and take the permission, what can he do for you?
Oh say ono do to me man say ono. And na was say
yeah permission per se. They are supposed to be informed.
Not be informed.
The permission. You need to notify the police.
I we say no. And one Mosuso na edini team demo Supreme Court ebu asem oso say ya na dey koduru no.
Oh na say yemfa say on my
election as speaker in 2021 was not even properly constitutionally done. I'm telling you, some of us have only restrained ourselves say on man here chichire. He was sitting there illegally.
And I'm
telling you.
I'm
telling you, see, but so no yes or yen who be mad do oni mumra do a oni wa na akotena classroom atron so ya wedding so first.
You know asem makwa no akwa so kan ye aye public say so wo hwe na de ekoso yi say emra or the adwuma de suspend your money ade no say
me I really disagree
with because our court no court for them no that's where he's farmed all the years not just say sabi oyobi onimumra
it doesn't matter
it doesn't matter
and see that posting is even dangerous.
I think media buam dey me den say
kwasinya abotre offer kwasinya abotre
what tell me mamin kasa se me dey me den say ade bi oye bia no obomodin apemra edi gina nachi
Obi atimpe whether that's the right law or not.
Kabila manimwe
say ya perverse law no and na say no eye miminu mienu e na ye de be ko friend say court kunini eno na eboa ma ye mra no ye democracy no agina say sabi ye nya obi a oye saa keke minyi ni say ye betimi move to because look like 8th parliament and a be who say preside as a second or first you can still vote BBNC and ke betime nya sanchi dem no
okay
that is it mean there me hwade say or the oye otumfo sem and now oye to me there
that's a positive aspect of it
that is it the oye bia no ye no money ade no ye interested in the law no ye so ye ni nachi ma de obeya enye no ye nka
kwazi uni bibi
ye
uni bibi yes do for chair and then assume in fear pim and na ne den chemu da the fact say speaker na tena fie ho since 92 and chere say constitutional provision and stand on the provision be obekotu no the interpretation of it are right say yes sir and ka supreme court do asem an can go for review
so when him say yeah standing orders here ekure at least one ade ba ko ayi na ye boa say ye betew and they say Parliament, the sanctity of Parliament must be protected. Enti no eniema ekoso of Parliament nyina egu Parliament hu fi nyina no. Sabe ye be wie no na ye ni so ate ye hwan. Enti no wo hwa eye between o party o caucus and that the sanctity of Parliament. Ti nyema bi wo ho na mu a edu ba bi a na wo hu de obechusu. What does say? No hu bi obechusu afa. Se eniema ekoso wo fi ho ene ono sabi oyemra emranimfo na watene fie ho ne ade no sabi the knowledge in parliamentary rules untimi enyin finu
obi anyi
enti say oti honom e na ade enso encheye this is the 8th and 9th parliament in our 4th republic enyema bebre na akonanim o da say enyema bebre na akonanim na esai say baby I could do in parliamentary practice near dinti. Say near maybe we hold them more. Or yeah. I just say unya kukudru as waka say we standing up to him. Sans suspension nip do na yidu. But I know calmly not ho because we 45 and ho with them ready say or say upa share the court.
You see consider ben.
What never
na kesi was saying pacho.
Aye.
Kadna busa say Supreme Court ma order. Emma nchiremu. Emma emremu ntiasie. Aya anka say emre kunini ne se. Say achinyedie bi ba meni untem. Obi ni obi ntem a. Ko anatumi ba ko pe ene wo se o manchiremu. Ene ne Supreme Court. Wo se ye ya emfanko. Ye de ko hon mu na anu a Supreme Court di nchiremu ba ye no. E den na Papa Bagben oyeye.
But what say? Enu say.
Ena na kadna me ba dabi ena na kadna libusa no.
Ese me here no say enu say wohwemu a. When Timi antu na mu tu anka say me ni Supreme Court nya.
Dabi onyo mu ya adwene onyo mu ya adwene.
Must say
hwanya say Supreme Court e hye emra na say Supreme Court edi asem a e wo so hwe ma Supreme Court asem a wodie no.
Right.
Ye di.
Ofa mami so asem. Court edi asem a na vaze bia one Kabila mo pre sa specialized bot the ekuta we wo so dia Kabila sene dia na Atik Mohammed JSC ebe transem so no ka say matie kwasi akwa nkrubo matie Kabila nkrubo mitie ni nyina wie ye no kwasi akwa asem o ka say specialized ye ne dia no ente sa ade ne ye Kabila dia mo fanko me wa na ade no ekuta wo kwasi. We say, okay, then okoye no bottle na court no se fama kabila no wo bottle no da sukuta wo wunje mu wo se wonya mfa wa no nka se memfa nko ntina enkyere se wo mfa nko. What are you saying?
Eti yemfa say in this scenario no ye say me sutie amade
Supreme Court no can say
simple man no e was say kabila nso emre bi ta na chi maniti me beje fi me ho
emra no ho ntina na me ka kire wo say the same way as speaker no hwehwe amanfo so mbedi mra so no ono should be the first person subjecting himself to the very constitution he wants people to obey.
Enra bibi ete minority ye ban kakra time wo ka say wa wo so nya remorseful no. Sorry.
Remorseful for what?
Remorseful for the others parliamentary JSS will be go.
Sorry.
What be that?
Because na obi aka wo radio so na obi aka wo from say obi ebu say headmaster.
Yeah, that's true.
And no can yes say say ye wo enkrofo a ebe ye omho say students ye hiam headmaster.
Oui.
So yeah, reference to class say education minister, education minister ability. I mean, it was all part of the
remorseful. No, there's some one kasa no. Yeah, any the course one. One kasa na one kasa manu. Say, ya mo hwɛ mo ho TV so and as a recording sa. Mo ankasa mo ne mo ma, any mo nua no mo nkuma hwɛ mo ho a. Say na mo ankasa mo se afi.
That's it.
Enti so no better say
on my nanim.
Yes.
Any ye fie me but in the chamber no.
Did he mean to say wow we are remorseful. Sorry na me fancho. And now why when you're remorseful no now you're better na sorry na me nhade. Is that what he meant?
Oh yes, I think the Bema 7
honorable, you see the Speaker of Parliament is not holding more MPs no in local parentis. Sebi on your headmaster no my students. You as a matter of fact he's not even a member of the house. So he cannot be conducting himself in local parentis. And secondly, you see, media, I admire him for one thing. And look, I'm one of his biggest fans.
Yes.
But I'm one of his big.
Until one time he said
is one of my biggest fans. I'm one of his biggest fans. That's what I mean. And I like his position on LGBTQ. He has his positives, so many of them. But about excess now, you should be bold enough to also tell him to say no it means that now the power to discipline any member of parliament now ACA HS is now reserved with the Speaker of Parliament, and it establishes a certain parent ward relationship.
Father.
No, it's out of respect, not because
me introduce na who say baby a wogina ene sanya wa family so bedwam na ene nyame adaro ma baby oti ye hunu a enye mra kwa so ne hwe ne keke ye san so hwe ne ntino mumfa blame ni mamra so bedwa force as yago ye hu todo do ama no
obi ankasa
sebe obi ankasa mra so bedwa nice school ye sua de what you say
every day
omaba first time as you have a lot of lawyers mum ne but on to sabe kwahwe ba ni bia wa ko no mo 3
rules and everything
so that's here into no what say ma che na wa be di speaker no obe kire o nienti a enema sa standing orders here di adwuma yi foforo
well you've amended
that is the experience any niema bebree ena odi ama yenya a new standing order relevant to
the time
this current parliament. Nti niema bi a etwamu bi na the first nanka committees a winner takes all. Buying empany for no wa buy mu no muna mo fa all the committees chair. And then no do na no we bi e dia minority because we who no say sa committees no say minority a chair.
Ono ye na say obetu ye.
Oh there be the na wo no mo public accounts
committee
and subsidiary government assurance no na government and na chairperson
and I privileges simple
na chairperson. I thought there are 3 committees.
No, there are about 4 or 5. There was economic and budgets. I don't say
a new committee.
New committee, yeah.
Oh, okay.
And the chairpersons no, they are more opposition, but they are more minority.
All right, okay.
So that's it. It's you know, one was by experience, no. Me the be say, sabi upo ye bo ye humodin say parliament
No, he suggested say it should be so.
New standing orders no. He led the deliberations.
Yes, but you MPs, you took them in.
No, but at least it was he showed initiative. That's
what say.
Suggest na man yen tumu a enkem.
Kabila no kreba ko wo ho na say tie. Ye wie standing orders ye G2. And a lot of MPs took momomani enkoye ho na de anya no.
Nya sie so Ghana fo nyina.
Oh, say Ghana fo no emu ahen na te de ekayase. What I say? The one that the ekas. Intino say bibi say no. You go challenge our quarter.
There is not a French aristocrat, but Ochro book is one of the most celebrated books in political science. The American Democracy. Emeka Alexis de Tocqueville. Oko America during the Jacksonian period, he wanted to understand the American democracy, the insights, the passions in Sanumano. And Ochro Bibi. It is called tyranny of the majority. Say democracy is about na duduona bekano and the ejuma. But sometimes duduona adwini na the ejuma. It stifles independent thought and independent mind, and it crashes opposition. Okay, say the majority would crash the opposition to the point that nobody even hears their screams. And Edusana is one of the dangers of democracy. And the
majority
they will crash the opposition to the point that nobody would even hear their screams,
even if their boss are
of the majority.
Even if their boss are present.
Yes, and it is not always the case. Who are numbers now? Okay, Afenyo what here. Afenyo what one of last year.
I need to read that book.
Oh yeah, no, it's very important. It is American Democracy by
I think I'll get
one for you. Actually, I'll get the soft copy for you.
Do
share. And yes, one numbers no. Niobe kebiane papa. Sometimes you can use your numbers to do evil. You can use your numbers.
Majority will always carry the vote, but they are not always right.
And they are not always right.
Sure.
Enti Mr. Yenuanuma or more majority no said they should be mindful of this construct, majority tyranny and a tyranny of the majority. Say and the fact say more numbers nin say minority no can be na model. All you say is mupa mum free uncle, and I was a bit deplored. I found it deplorable. Say my appointments committee, when there were issues, concerns, the chairman was like, "Oh, minority leader, if you can go." And did we see the outcome? Ebimu spent less than 5 minutes.
Nipa be 10. Bye bye. I wish you well. Bye bye. Is that what we are looking for?
Honorable, I remember of Parliament. Now, it is settled and tried knowledge about parliamentary practice. The minority will always have their say. But the majority will have their way.
Yes. But that is allowed them to have their say.
Yes.
Good.
Don't push us out.
So I just made a point. They say, sometimes it becomes chaotic.
And no said an answer. A PSA Omega Mama declare a yampa. Only ye PC, a crefu ye kasa. On my year, do one no, I got 3 police stations.
3, and there will be any
3, no. Omo try say police bema security no my year no awie. Ye we IGP. Enye we na NDC for the be maintain. There was a we no. Yes pepe. On be pamo. But there was a we no. Ye obi animu se na we wadwuma fa. 3 police stations pe ko supervise. Na yisi for nya circulation no. Na yenwie na yenya a full house. This we will fight. We will fight for it.
Even if it calls for, you will.
We will fight for it because ye wundi aka. Dodo na ya naka 3 police stations pe. Mo yisi for by court na show. One we be new. Court na ka say ye man security. So say why and eba be ensure. Say as agwagwa dey na die. E die down. And then Ekwefie mu akoma
unfortunately me need time be until the
honorable here say me can one say me dikan eka galamsey ho asem no sisi a mo opposition e bia mo aban mu no na mo nkrofo ne bi yenti sisi a adama no ho so
I'll take full responsibility for pressing every other thing here before me, including those at the far reach. The new standing order is not Bagme's sole initiative. It was